You see the mathematician cook Terrence Howard. You know, let me pull that up. I still haven't seen that.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
So to claim that a guy can't do engineering on platonic solids and come up with something new, the Rubik's Cube, the Haberman's switch pitch, these things prove that that's not true.
I want to see the 1
foolish
times
thing
1 equals
almost
2
always
challenge.
To pretend there's nothing new under the sun. You
Well-
should always consider it.
Hold on. Let me see if I can just find like a clip on Twitter. Okay, here. This one says if you only watch 3 minutes of the Joe Rogan podcast with Terrence Howard and Eric Weinstein, this is the 3 minutes. So this must be where they talk about 1 times 1 equals 2. It's gotta be.
Peer review for me. I know a lot more than you do about a lot of this stuff. You're getting an elite review. And my elite review says that a lot of this is bathwater, but a small amount of this is baby. And that's not available anywhere. It's not available in a university. It's not available in a journal. That's available on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Nice
And,
nice
Neil's
promo.
right.
Just shout out, I guess.
I don't think Neil deGrasse Tyson actually knows the history of peer review. This is Google Ngrams.
Oh, and he's taking. Wait a minute. Taking shots at Neil deGrasse Tyson. Who is this guy? This guy sounds like a badass. I like that. Neil deGrasse Tyson catching strays.
Often a phrase is found.
I don't know anything
in
about this guy, but I
English
appreciate
language
that.
Books published in the world.
He respects Neil a
Peer
lot.
review basically begins in the mid-1960s. So he diluted the quality of the editorship of the leading journals. This was a very informal, high quality.
This is not the 1 times 1
most
equals
of the
2 section,
destruction-
but this is a pretty interesting section. I don't know the history of peer review either, to be honest. I really just want to see the 1 times 1 equals 2 challenge. Clip of them discussing 1 times 1 equals 2 is on the YouTube channel Going Rogan. Here we go.
As
Thanks.
an example of the 1 times 1, assume that Terrence doesn't have a big problem with addition because addition doesn't have the division by 0 problem. If you take any 2 numbers, A and B, 2 real numbers, right? Or make them positive, and take the natural logs of those 2 numbers and add those together. Then you take the exponent of that. So we haven't done a times operation at all.
Right.
Right? The exponential of the ln of A plus ln of B. That is equal to the A to A times B. In other words, addition and multiplication are what we would say is isomorphic, or an ordinary person would say exactly the same thing. So in other words, if you don't allow me multiplication, but you would allow me, because you like waves, so with waves you need exponentials.
He really did his research on Terryology.
There's no way of changing the law of multiplication and accepting the law of addition because they're the same system.
Multiplication should initially started as exaggerated addition. That was the whole point of it.
Well, the precise statement would be that the positive real numbers under multiplication, with the identity element being the multiplicative identity being 1, are isomorphic to the total real numbers.
It'd be so much
Under
better if you just
addition,
showed
the
him
additive
why 1
identity
times 1
being
doesn't
0.
equal 2.
And the natural
Using a
logarithm
physical
and
demonstration. I think that's so much more
exponential are group
effective.
homomorphisms
But maybe
that
for
connect
Terry,
the
it's
two, with
easier
one
to
being
do
the
it this
other's
way.
inverse. So by the principle of explosion, the reason that people are in part going to freak out about your stuff is that we have a vulnerability. And that vulnerability says that from a single contradiction, if you can sneak one contradiction through TSA, the entire airport collapses. Everything that we do
Huh? Oh, it doesn't.
just is destroyed. And so the idea is that the security on mathematics and physics and physical sciences is extraordinary for outside ideas because the first contradiction in the unity of knowledge destroys all of it. If you've ever seen one of these warehouse racking collapses,
Yes.
where some forklift guy hits some strut and the entire warehouse goes, that's what you're dealing with the principle of explosion.
And that's that's the problems with the identity principle that they've been trying to work on for years. For years, Norman J. Wildberger talks about it. It is what's, because you have to cancel conservation of energy, and
What?
you have to cancel the
Just go back to
action
1
and
times 1 equals
reactionary
2, brother.
laws in order for 1 times 1. Now I understand you're seeing one time, But because of the associative law that says if A and B are both positive integers, then A is to be added to itself in multiplication. A is to be added to itself as many units as is indicated by B.
Well, hang on there. If I change the word itself to the word zero, which you're going to say there is no zero.
Oh, he
Why
really
would I say
knows
there's no zero?
Terry.
Because you have, well, this is why I keep trying to get back to.
Wait,
what
why
I
did
just
wait?
said.
That wasn't very Terryology like. Terrence Howard has said that he doesn't really believe in zero. And now he's saying, why is there no zero? Well, now I'm confused. What do you believe in, Terrence? What the fuck? Wait, did he abandon that one? Does he not talk about zero not being real anymore? Is that no longer a part of Terryology? I guess chat's not even sure. I don't think there's like a consistent through line with Terryology, so I guess it's kind of just whatever mood he's in, whether or not he believes zero is real.
Terrence's underlying metaphysics.
No, what
we
I'm
can't do
saying
this.
is that to say zero is supposed to represent no thing,
Right.
nothing whatsoever. But they have zero as a number, set up as a number.
Oh no, okay, so
But
okay.
to say no thing, your brain creates a chemical structure even in saying nothing. So there is what I'm
So
saying
there's a difference
philosophically.
There's a difference between the empty set
An
and
empty set.
zero.
That's the difference.
Right? So if I say to you, Terrence, what is the collection of kittens that you have sold to North Korea to be used for spare parts? You would say, it's the empty set. I've never sold a kitten.
Yeah,
I say,
nothing.
hey, Terrence, what is the number of kittens that you've sold for the internal organs to North Korea? You would say zero. So
Correct.
zero is
I
the.
would say none. Yeah.
That's
zero.
right. So there is a zero.
But to multiply something by nothing, to multiply something by nothing, don't they have?
Well, he
to be-
folded on that real quick. I remember Terrence Howard was like, he's adamant. He's like, there is no zero. You can't say zero. It's not real. And now he's just like immediately like, yeah. It was definitely a weird analogy, but I mean, it worked. I mean, he got him to the right conclusion. Zero. It's a real thing.
Be dimensionally equal to in order to multiply. Like you can't multiply a human by an ant because they're not dimensionally equal.
Well, if there was a thing called a human ant. No, that was your point about dollars, right?
Yes.
What dollar times a dollar? That was a
That's the
problem that
Dewey
people.
Decimal System.
It's
That's
not
the
the Dewey
problem with
Decimal.
it. No, the problem comes up with the Dewey Decimal System. Why a dollar times a dollar can be different values based on different currencies. That was the point of that. I was pointing out, hey, the Dewey Decimal System is
Terrence
whack.
makes a correct point that we say 1 times 1 equals 1, but if you say a dollar times a dollar, it's not a sensible thing unless a dollar squared is a unit that you can interpret. Right?
Now,
That was your point about dimensionality.
right now, the moment, what is a dollar squared? What does a
I don't
dollar
know what that
squared
means.
become? But since the dollar is no longer based on a hard asset, it's no longer gold. It's just an integer. It's just an integer in a computer being multiplied.
It's a unit of account.
It's a unit of account, but it's an integer that's still now you're able to multiply it under different currencies. States are not allowed to print dollars, but states are allowed to print as much change. So who's to say that the state isn't saying, okay, we're going to print.
We can get into seigniorage, which is the concept of theft that it occurs when either the Fed or the
It's
counter-
crazy how effectively he weasels his way out of this 1 times 1 equals 2 gobbledygook. Just by just fucking filibustering with nonsense. The Dewey Decimal System, you take the currencies from over here, and then you take that from over there, and then this, and then this, and then it's now all of a sudden we're not talking about 1 times 1 equals 2 anymore. Now it's some kind of fucking quantum stupid conversation. It's so silly. It's so silly. It's such a fucking spam of buzzwords. It's unreal. That's exactly what conmen on TV do. It's effective. It's effective. Like when the Joe Rogan episode dropped with Terrence Howard, half of Twitter was like, wow, I had no idea Terrence Howard was such a fucking mathematician genius. This is enlightening stuff. I always had a suspicion 1 times 1 actually did equal 2 and that all the math we were taught is completely incorrect. Which is how I'm able to sit here behind the computer that's a product of math because it's all wrong. If only we followed Terrence Howard's 1 times 1 equals 2. And the hydrogen proton geometry.
creates more script, thereby devaluing, increasing the unit. The number of units that are in circulation decreases the value per unit.
Right.
But my claim is you're going to do a series of things. Like I've watched how you deal with people in interaction. And you've created an incredible effect. Rick Rubin, the hip hop producer.
Yeah, he did my album.
Okay, well that makes some sense because the first thing that happens is I'm awakened by a message from Rick Rubin. He's like, "How come you can't explain physics the way Terrence Howard explains it?" There's not a way to get on my good side.
Yeah, but he's probably baiting you.
What?
Rick's
He's
probably
always
baiting you.
he's always bait.
He's the best.
He's the best.
I'm trying to explain physics the way you explain it.
Well, okay. So
I'm looking for a partnership at the end of this. That's what I'm hoping to win you over as a proselyte.
You can try.
I'm
there's
I'm
part of
hoping
you
that
that's
the
one.
information does that.
There's at least one area that you have won me over in, which I'm very excited about. But I'd like to get back to
What is that area? Don't leave us hanging.
the linchpin. We'll get to it.
Yeah, but you can't leave us hanging.
Well,
No,
I'm trying to get
Joe,
back-
Jesus
I'm trying to
Christ,
get
Joe,
circles
just
to
stick to the
this.
fucking topic, you goober. Holy shit. Okay, so now I see. Now they just completely divert from this, and he doesn't have to confront the fact that he is just blatantly fucking wrong again. That's crazy. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Oh my fucking god.
Let me let you talk. You're just gonna talk. Stop trying to control everything, you
Not-
freak.
He's got a plan.
I
And
know
he
he's
can't-
got like a
and he's
very rigid
genuine.
plan.
He didn't
can I
We're
get-
gonna have a good time.
Can I get an ayahuasca chino?
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Joe Rogan brings on the mathematician. Hey, can you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to listen to this nonsense. Why are you trying to correct him? Let him talk. Let him keep spouting fucking nonsense. At some point, you just gotta realize people don't want to have their minds change. But he did. That's the thing. He instantly folded on his whole zero isn't real thing when this guy brought like an irrefutable point that zero has to be real. And Terrence immediately, without hesitation's like, yeah, okay, so zero's real. All he has to do is just show him that 1 times 1 will never equal 2. You can do it with a physical demonstration. I did it in a video with fucking waifu shaker cups. Anyone can show that 1 times 1 will always equal 1. That is the most provable thing on the planet. It's so crazy. Yeah, but they won't for content. That's true. I think Joe Rogan's... he's an idiot for sure, but I think he knows that milking Terrence Howard's craziness is good for him. That's probably why he shut it down. But the warp drives... Yeah, the fucking warp drives.